All right. We were just
Okay,
talking
perfect.
before we started recording, and I didn't want to anglicize your last name, so I'm going to give it a go, but you can say it afterwards as well. Alberto Herraiz.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's good.
I like it.
I also,
That's a,
I also, I mean, you may have to apologize for my last name, but I will have to apologize for my English, so that's fine for both.
that's fair. That's fair. How are you feeling? We're just talking about the last time we had spoken. It had been a little bit. You had won the 2021 Junior World Championships as a 66, and now you're back winning the Junior Worlds as a 74. It's been a couple years, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I didn't when I first started powerlifting, I didn't even think about being world champion one day, and even less being it two times and in two different weight classes. So I'm really happy about that.
It's your rise. I mean, that not only are you now a two-time world champion in the juniors, but your popularity has grown so much. I see you on social media and from your YouTube to your Instagram, it's been phenomenal. Is this just powerlifting in Spain, period? Because Spain has gone so much bigger in the past 2 years as well.
Yeah, I feel like powerlifting has grown a lot in Spain. I mean, there is a lot more people that is practicing it. Also, not also in Spain, also in South America. I feel like there's day by day there are a lot of more people working out and doing powerlifting. I think last time we talked in Spain there were like I don't know maybe 600 affiliations, 1,000 maybe, but now we are more than 3,000. So it's growing a lot in Spain. It's crazy. I also feel like, to be honest, that all people like me and other people in Spain that has done a really good job in social media has also helped to make this sport grow.
It's for sport to grow, you really do need stars. You need people to understand social media and how to capitalize to make people find it. And I mean, your social media has been excellent. After you won, it kind of reminded me of Penna, the way you posted and said, um, everybody, because I posted on King of Lifts and you put everybody, I want to see everybody go into the comments and show some support. And that post blew up in 24 hours. I mean, over 10,000 likes and like hundreds of comments from people from Spain throwing up Spanish flags and showing support. And it really did. It was reminiscent of like Pena in France when he says, everybody go in the comments and show your support. And just a sea of support comes over like that. And this is what it looks like a little bit happening in Spain. And you know, it's early to say, but there's indications anyways that Spain is on that trajectory where it's on the rise like France was a couple years ago. And for it to have, I mean, if it's around 500, 600 people last time we talked, and now it's 3,000, I mean, that's, we're talking six times more that in just 2 years. That's incredible.
Yes, Chris, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I feel a lot of support by not only people in Spain, also in South America. I mean, all Spanish speakers. I feel a lot of support, and I mean, I'm also proud about that because I feel like I won this when I started with this sport. It was so small in Spain. It was really small in the world, but especially in Spain, it was really small. And I'm kind of proud to be one of the persons to help this sport grow in Spain. And also, I feel like now the kids that start going to the gym with 16 years old, they have somebody to look up to. Like they go to the gym and they know who to see. It's not like before that you didn't know anything, and I'm really proud about that. And also, it's what you see. It's what you said. I mean, in Spain, I think we have a lot of good lifters now. That especially junior lifters that are pretty good, and that's helping the sport to develop in Spain. We were, I think, last Junior Europeans, Spain was first in the national competition. In the international competition, we were first. So that's a really, really, really good thing. Also, I saw like the story you posted about like who was what the people think who which country was gonna be like the first one at this junior was, and I kind of took that personally because I saw that nobody said Spain, and that was for me was like why nobody saying Spain, and I think we are I don't know how positioned we are in which rank we are now, but after my competition we were second, so
You were this morning. I double checked. Now the 120s and 120 pluses haven't been loaded, so I'm not sure on their team points. But you were still second after 105s. So your Spain is 100%. This is the World Championships, and I'm not sure where you ended up, but yeah, it's a huge improvement for Spain overall in terms of what Spain has been putting out as a nation. And I didn't even think about it, but obviously it seems obvious now when you bring it up, though. But in terms of Spanish speaking nations, there's so many of them. More outside of Spain, as English, obviously, it's a an international language that, like, if you have English content, people all over the world are going to be taking it. But Spanish is also like that. And from all over America, all of South America, obviously Mexico, and different pockets all over Europe, Spanish is still going to be a huge market, and a market until your arrival and other Spanish stars' arrival, a market that we hadn't seized. And it totally makes sense that when you come on and start putting out videos in Spanish and start putting out, yeah, I mean, your YouTube is blowing up. You're getting thousands of views on all of these. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people in these different nations that speak Spanish that ordinarily would not have found powerlifting. And because you have Spanish content being put out, they're like, oh, what's going on here? I can follow his story. I can hear it, listen to it, follow him into the world championships, watch him win. And that's where, like, we need this. We need this as a sport. People putting out this kind of stuff.
yeah, exactly. Also, the thing is was like during last the 74 kilos live stream, I think it reached like more than 50K views, and I
My
mean that's crazy
God, really?
for a junior championship. Also, they told me one of my followers told me that it was 53 in YouTube in Spain YouTube tendencies during that night, and that's crazy. I mean, it's like as a powerlifting competition that is 3 hours long, and it reached the tendencies in YouTube. That was crazy. I mean, I didn't expect that. Also, because what you said, it's not only Spain, it's Spain, but all South America. Because also South America is growing a lot. Probably they are a little bit delayed compared to Spain, but they are also growing a lot.
I mean, Mexico obviously as well, and U.S. U.S. has huge chunks of the population that speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Massive chunks. Yeah, I just checked, 52,000 views. Alberto, USAPL nationals from last year are like 27,000 views. Like they're like under 30,000 views. For you guys to hit 52,000 views, and it hasn't even been a week, it's just been a few days, and you've already doubled what they've done at USAPL nationals. It's incredible. And this is the juniors. It's I it's weird because you wouldn't have suspected, or maybe we should have suspected this, but a lot of people thought I think we're all in the last 2 years since the last Worlds, 2021, when you won junior 66s. That was the year things started getting a little weird with USAPL. And obviously, they were suspended, but some of their lifters were allowed to come anyways, representing USVI. And around this time, we weren't sure how things were going to shake up. And when USAPL ended up leaving, we weren't sure, like, is the market super big in US? And at the time, I think it was a bigger chunk of the overall pie. But we were thinking, are they going to take all these views we used to have and reallocate them towards the US APL and IPF on the global international scene, whether it's Euros, Worlds, will have less views and less interest. And what we've seen in the past 2 years, the entire opposite. As it were, the rest of the world reshifted their focus away from the USAP. Like the USAPL views are way smaller, and IPF worlds have grown exponentially grown. And obviously, these nations like Spain, France, Italy becoming far more into powerlifting nations has helped a lot, helped a ton. But it couldn't happen at a better time
Yeah,
for
I mean,
sure.
I also had that. I was scared also that USPL was gonna be the most important federation, but I think that what every lifter really wants is to be world champion. I mean, powerlifting is not a sport where you are gonna make tons of money. I mean, for people that do this sport, it's not about money. It's just about recognition. So I think people just want to be world champion and be recognized as the world champion. So I think that's why the most competitive lifters from the US, I mean, some very competitive lifters have stayed in the USPL, but I feel like the most important ones probably left to the IPF. So I mean, I think IPF is the one that is gonna grow more, and I think that progressively more people from the USPL is gonna end up also in the IPF. And also, I mean, you mentioned that 52K was only like junior goals. I can imagine what is gonna happen next year at open goals with Miyagi that is also growing a lot. Taylor, Monigati, I'm gonna be there too. I mean, I don't know, but we probably will reach more than 100K views. So that's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, for sure. 100% you will. There's no question you will. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they did do over 100K views, the 74s. It'll be,
I don't know
it could
how
be 200K. Who knows?
yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know how much they did last time, but I think next time will be crazy. Will be a lot, and
It's
that's
because
really important for the sport.
100%. Yeah, it's because you guys are bringing the global views, like you were bringing all of Spain and Spanish speaking nations. Not just Spain, but Spanish speaking nations are following you.
Yeah,
Cali, Miyagi, Deadlift Miyagi, Cali, Johansson is bringing Sweden. Taylor's bringing the US. Tim Monagati is bringing all the Oceania and New Zealand and everyone from that region. All these different regions are watching and tuning in. So it makes it a lot easier. People are like, you know how many people around the world speak Spanish? It's a massive viewership. It's
yeah,
important. You need it. You need it. You can't do it off the strength of one nation. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel the same. I feel like now is the time for powerlifting to start like investing for the IPF to start investing in the streams because I feel like more and more people are watching them. So I feel like they should be like with a lot of movement. It's like I don't know how to explain in English, but it's like they have to be like constant emotion. Like not only like a static video of the lifter, but like maybe like they did in Sheffield, like a camera that is following the lifter,
mm,
first plane, something like that. I think that should be great. That would be great for powerlifting.
yeah, no, they did a phenomenal job at Sheffield. I know what you mean, where they had cameras. When you see the cameraman, it's actually like there's like I can't even explain it in English myself, my man. But yeah, the camera's like hanging over their shoulder and they're walking with it and they
Yeah,
follow the lifters off the platform onto the platform into the warm-up room. And they had like phenomenal footage. Obviously, that one scene where Gavin's leading the platform and Kaiko's there waiting in the
yeah,
wings. Like
that,
everybody
that yeah,
remembers that
that
where
clip
that was
was
gold.
was really mainstream. I thought I saw that clip in TikTok a lot of times, and I mean that's really good because many people probably didn't know about powerlifting, and just by that clip, they probably know.
make it look as cool as possible. Make it look like, what is this? You know, that's intense. When it
Yeah,
comes to sports, if it looks intense and it looks interesting and it looks like, oh my God, that looks like a battle right there. Like, I wonder what the story is behind that. Because all you see is one guy celebrating, and it's Gavin, who has crazy Viking hair and it looks, he's crazy jacked and stocky, walking off the platform. And you see the celebration in that clip. And then there's Kaiko, and he looks as determined as you ever seen. And the lighting on him is perfect. I remember when I was commentating, when that happened, I was like, oh my God, is that a clip? Oh, you just knew, like, wow, did they capture an absolutely
yeah,
phenomenal clip? And when you capture those, I think you're 100%. When you capture those and they become moments, you'll have people around the world who go to the gym. They squat, deadlift, bench, whatever, but they're not super into powerlifting, but they're in the gym. And these are people that we can capture, and they could see that and be like, oh shit, I didn't know powerlifting was this interesting. I like weightlifting, but I didn't know it'd actually be interesting to watch. That looks intense. If you
yeah.
if you package it like that.
Also, I feel like
It,
they can like what the IPF should learn more about the USPL is that soul thing. Like also I feel like maybe they should create do more posts about hyping the competition before the competition, like all the different battles that there must be. Also, like I don't know, like a mass media conference before and after
mm,
the championship. I think that would be great too. So like lifters could hype each other, like I'm gonna beat you. Or, no, I'm gonna beat you, something like that. Like kind of
mm,
MMA.
yeah. Yeah, the Powerlifting America press conferences, those clips are doing, like, I love how those look. They do post, not pre, like you're talking. I think pre will help hype it.
Yeah, they did. I think that was a great advance, but I think like press conference could be even better. Not only just in the powerlifting America, but also like every weight class.
Right.
Like the IPF
Yes.
should do that, not powerlifting America.
100% agree. And I do, like, afterwards is good because you get everybody in the moment, which is good. Like
Yeah,
the loss is still fresh. So you get the loss, like, how did it feel? It's
exactly.
the heartbreak. And then the victory is still fresh. So you get, like, oh my God, the elation and happiness is so fresh. So you get that, which is, it's good. But also to hype these showdowns, let's have them talk. Let's have them, you beat me last time, you're not going to get me this time, etc. We have to have that kind of stuff. It's just the coordination will be difficult because people are coming from all over the world. And you, you've been to the world championships. You know how it'd be tough to get everybody there like the day before or whatever. It's possible. It's just, it'll take some work. We just need some
I know it's,
staff
it's possible,
allocated.
but I mean, I feel like it's now time to invest in it, because
Yeah.
I mean, for example, another thing that is hard for me to understand is how a world champion cannot get any money or any prize. Like I mean, of course, I know it's not a big sport. I know we cannot get like for being champion like 20K, but I mean some money because it's like it's not about probably 500 euros. I'm not gonna change anybody's life, but if you have that incentive, it's kind of like a reward, and you probably are gonna do better if you know that if you win, you're gonna get this, you know. And
Mm.
I feel like it's time to start investing in that kind of things to like make the sport more professional.
It feels different when you get a little bit of money. It feels more,
Yeah,
and even if it just helps cover expenses so you're not out of pocket,
of course,
you
that
know.
just that.
Yeah. Do you have, like, there is some sponsorships like SBD? Are you an SBD athlete?
Uh, I will be a SBD Spain athlete. I don't know how SBD is working now, but I will not be an SBD like as as we know SBD athlete, but I will be an SBD Spain athlete.
Okay.
I don't know how are their marketing working now, but that's what I will be next year.
I mean, I would assume they want to grab you and sign you, man. I mean, if you Spain is for all the reasons we just said. Spain is a market that's growing. Spanish speaking nations in general are growing all over, and you're 100% a star, a Spanish speaking star. I mean, it'd be crazy not to grab you. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the 74s, the battle that we seen in the Open, the 66s, because obviously you're junior world champion 66 as well. But tell me about yourself first, because coming into this, you moved up from the 66s, and tell me about that decision and the progress. And coming into the competition, you've had bigger numbers before, and so has some of the other people, but it's not about the numbers you had before. It's about, winning on the day of and adjusting. And if you don't
Yeah,
adjust properly, holy smokes, can things really go
I
off?
mean, first of all, I was 66, and when I won, I knew I could have won next Junior Europeans, and I knew I could have won next Worlds also in 66. But for me, it was like, I mean, I know someday I'm gonna move up to 74. So now I have achieved everything I could in 66. So now I still have two more junior years. If I don't move up now, I won't have time enough to move up to 74 as a junior, you know?
Mm.
And so also it was hard for me to get in the 66 weight class. So I just decided to move up to 74 because I mean, it was like once you have achieved everything you can in that weight class, it's just time to move to new goals, you know? So I decided to move. It was like a year without competing, just focusing on weight and improving, and that's it. And after that, I just won Spanish Junior Nationals, and just to classify for Europeans. And in Europeans, that was the first time I competed against Miyagi. He was first. I was second. I knew he was far away from us. I mean, I just did my best, but I knew he was gonna be first. I knew it was not my time yet. And now, to be honest, after he won Worlds, I knew that if he went to Junior Worlds, he would took the gold medal for sure. But when he said that he was not going, it was like a really really big motivation for me, to be honest, because it was like, I mean, the biggest competitor has left, so now is my time, you know? And many people can say, I mean, you just won because Miyagi didn't go and something like that. But I mean, this is the sport. This is sport is like that. I mean, the only one who can win is the one who goes, you know? And I have
Right.
total respect for Miyagi. I know that if he went, he would probably have won. But I mean, this is the sport, and that's the only thing that matters. The one that performs that day.
That's with sports in general. You have to show up. You can't stay home and do it. Just like you showed up, and it's not about nominations because all your totals came down. You got to scrap it out on that day and figure it out on the day. You were
Yeah,
actually nominated number two and ended up
yeah. The thing
pulling
was,
ahead.
the thing was like 1 month I was at my best 1 month before Worlds. I was really really strong. To be honest, I was aiming for Monigati's squad world record.
Wow.
But 1 month before, I injured my glute, so I had to stop doing squat and deadlift during 2 weeks, and I had to start treating with a physical therapist. I also had to start taking analgesics. I don't know if that's the word, painkillers.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
to start taking painkillers for the last month before Worlds. So I mean, as I said, I was at my best, but after that, my confidence and my performance decreased a lot. So to be honest, we were scared because we knew that Kian, the Canadian guy, was really really strong, and we knew that if we were not at my best, we will have a difficult time to beat Kian. The thing was like when we saw the openers, we saw that Kian was also injured. So then for me it was like I started to again I could I had possibilities to win goals, you know. So I mean it was just at the moment during the competition it was just about securing the total, and that was it. Because I think that I felt that the main opponent was Kian, but Kian was injured. So I was also injured 1 month ago. So I knew that my total was not gonna be the best, but I just had to secure the gold, and that was the only thing that matters. The time for the records will be during the next Europeans.
This is where you kind of talked on it in your caption. You just got to show up because you don't know. When you get injured and you're coming into a competition, it's easy to be like, I'm not going to be at my best. Do I pull out? What do I do here? Show up. You don't know if the other people at their best. Like your total came down roughly 20 kilos or so, and you might have told yourself, "Oh my God, if I'm already nominated, if I look at the nominations, you were second with 724, and Kean had 725.5. And if you're looking at this, like, oh my gosh, if my total comes down 20 kilos, I'm going to be way far back. You could have been off podium, but show up, do your best. And you don't know how everyone else is. Everyone else might be injured. There's going to be some tough calls, but you have to show up and compete.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as like any sport, powerlifting is not about being the strongest. It's about being the strongest the day of the competition. You know, it's just
Mm.
about that. I mean, nobody cares what you do at your home. You know, it's just like when you go to the platform, just do your best, and the one who will win is the one that did the best at the platform. That's the only thing that matters. Also, when I won the at 66 in 2021, it was kind of the same because USPL was banned that year, so the people from the US couldn't compete. And some people said the same, like it was like you just won because the US people didn't come, and it was like, I mean, I spent a lot of money coming here. I also risked. I told you last time. I also risked an exchange program coming here, and this
Mm.
time was the same. I was injured. I spent a lot of money, and I mean, first thing first thing you have to do to win is show up. If you don't show up, you can be the strongest at the home that you are not gonna win. So for me, it was like that this time. It was like I know I'm not the best. 2 days before competition, I was like assuming that I was not gonna win. But after I saw the openings of all the opponents, it was like now it's my time. Now it's my time, and I'm gonna make it again.
Did you lower your opener, squat opener?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we did that. I mean, the thing was like we saw that we didn't need that, so we just lowered the opener, and that was it. I mean, as I told you, like the idea was to before the injury was to beat the Monicati's record, squad record, but after the injury, we knew that it was not going to be possible. So the strategy was to at least make the junior squad world record. That was uh, 275.5 from
Mm.
Perkins, and that was the goal. But we saw that it was gonna be very risky, so we just tried to secure the total. And yeah, in December we will try to make those junior records, but that was not the time. First thing always is the medals, and after that is the records.
And that's really the sign of like when you're maturing as an athlete. When you're making these decisions on the day and being like, let's lower it. If we don't think we need to, let's not take these risks. You got to build your total and throw kilos on that total. So lower down a little bit. The fact that you're going after Perkins' junior record, Monagotti's open record, the fact that those are even in contention is crazy. Your strength, especially that squat, man, to be squatting over, I know you're in Europe and you don't use pounds, but to be squatting over 600 pounds as a junior 74 is insane. With your jump up, like, did you have to adjust? How did you make the move from 66 to 74? Did you adjust calories? And how good did it feel? Was the gains coming really fast for you? And how quickly did you fill out 74?
Yeah, the thing is like I'm very lucky because I gain weight really really fast. I mean, from 59, I started competing at 59 when I was a sub junior. So from 59 to 66 in just one year, I think 1 or 2 years, I already filled up 66, 66. So I gained weight really really fast, and this time was the same. It was like I started consuming more calories. I mean, some powerlifters don't take a lot of control about what they eat, but I do. I mean, I my calories and my macros are always weighted, and I always know what I'm eating. So I just try to gain weight. First year was like more bulky, it was like just gain weight, with not a lot of fat, but just gain weight. After that, during that summer, I just did like a cut because next meet was Spanish Junior National, so I didn't care much about being underweight. The important thing was just like to get leaner. So I just cut during that summer, and then I started to move up again, but slower. It was like more slowly, and now I feel like I still have not filled up the weight class yet. I feel like I still have to lose like I don't know 2 kilos of body fat and add 2 kilos of muscle, something like that. But I think I will need still another year to do that. I think 2024 will be my time to improve as an open, and 2025 I will be ready to compete with the best again at open.
Mm, yeah, I mean, look, another 2 kilos of muscle mass is huge. Like that's a lot of muscle. We're
Yeah,
we're talking like 5 pounds of straight up muscle. That does a lot for you. How many calories do you eat a day?
I don't eat a lot. I eat like when I'm bulking, I eat like between 3,000 and three 3,200, something like that.
That is
I don't eat
that's
much. I don't eat a lot.
that's a decent amount actually. Like you'd be surprised. So this is why I asked because I ask guys like who are weight class up, like Gerans, or a bunch of 83s, 93s. You eat more than some of them. But
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's decent. Yeah, man. You should ask around. That's actually a decent amount of calories. That's quite a bit, man.
It's hard to be honest. It's hard to be for me. It's hard. I mean, 3,000 calories for me are really really hard to make it during the day. I mean, I had to eat a lot of liquid calories because if not, it's impossible for me. I mean, it gets hard. I mean, sometimes I go to training, and it's like I want to poop. Sometimes, it's hard.
See, so I eat around 3,000 calories as well. But I'm like 185 pounds, like I would be an 83. For me, 3,000 calories, man, I could eat 4,000. I can eat, man. That's no worries for me. But yeah, you do have to when training, you don't want to feel overly full. And 3,000 calories when you're 74 is quite a bit. But
Yeah,
yeah, if you put on 2 kilos worth of muscle and do it, I like that you timeline it with like expectations. Like for instance, I think last time I saw you at Worlds in 2021 when you went 66s, I think even then you told me in the warm-up room, I'm gonna go 74.
yeah.
You remember that?
I
Afterwards,
feel
I'm like,
I was. I mean, I feel like 66 is a weight class where most of the population doesn't feel inspired, because not many people weigh that, you know? So I feel like 74 is much more recognized. First of all, because probably relatively to each category, there is more level because there is more people that weights that, So it's more probable that you are gonna find a superstar with that weight. And also, I feel like it's much more recognized because many people that just viewers can identify with that. So it's more surprising for them. So I was really motivated on going to 74 because I felt like for social media and from recognition, it was gonna be better to be at 74. And I also thought that 74 was gonna be like my limit, and I needed to start growing in that weight class soon, you know, because I feel like one of my strongest things is like my body composition. I'm always like the shortest in the 74 weight class and also one of the leanest. So, I mean, maybe not the leanest, but the ones that have more muscle mass. So I feel like that's one of my main advantages comparing with other rivals.
You're built like a power lifter. You're built to shift weights and do this for sure. At the time when you wanted to move into 74 in 2021, Taylor Atwood was the guy. I think you even mentioned Taylor Atwood at the
Yeah,
time too, when you're like, I'm moving into 74. Since then, I mean, it's been a couple years. Taylor's in his mid 30s now. What do you think? Do you think Taylor can come back? Do you think Taylor will ever come back to what he was in 2021? Because 2021 was the year he did 838.5, which is ridiculous.
I feel like Taylor is gonna come back for sure. I mean, we all know them. When he loses, he comes stronger. You know, the thing is, I don't know if he's gonna be able to do what he did in 2021 nationals. Because of two reasons. First of all, as you said, he's getting older. I mean, he's not old, but he's getting older, and that's that's a disadvantage. Also, I mean, USPL, or I don't know if he competed at USPL or Powerlifting America, but probably US standards are not the same as IPF standards, you know? So I feel like many lifters from the US, when they compete at IPF, they have problems with the standards, you know? So because of those two reasons, I don't think he's gonna be back to that 838 total. That was amazing. I mean, that was crazy. But I do think that he's gonna still be competing for the gold. Be competing for the gold. I feel like next year, probably 2024. I don't know if there's any other lifter that is rising, but it's gonna be between Monigati, Taylor, and Miyagi again, probably in during next year. And I hope I really feel like 2025 will be my year to be in that battle. I don't know if I'm gonna win that year, but I feel like 2025 I will be able to at least be in that battle.
Apply pressure and be in that conversation. And that's where you need a stacked class because if somebody's going for gold, and this happened at the junior worlds actually, when Keane from Singapore, a different Keane who was lower in the nominations, he had at one point had to make that decision. Does he load up and try to go for the gold medal with you, or does he defend silver? And when you have and he ended up having to defend silver because it's just that close. And when you have a lot of different lifters that clustered that close, it's a more complicated conversation. I mean, you have
Yeah,
more people vying for positions, just getting on the podium. You got to think to yourself, do I pull for the podium or I could end up off the podium? Am I pulling for gold? What am I doing here? And you could be in that conversation, applying pressure from all different angles. That's what makes it powerlifting is far better viewership when you have those kind of conversations happening. And yeah, you'd be right up in the mix for sure, especially with this kind of progress you made. And when you moved up to 74, is this the pacing that you had anticipated? Is this like because obviously you wanted to be in the mix with guys like Taylor and Miyagi, Cali has emerged and whatnot. Is this all going to plan just like you had anticipated?
maybe it's a little bit faster. I mean, I didn't expect being in like I think this year I may end with like 740, 750. I didn't expect to be in my last year with that total. I mean, I expected like I don't know, like ending my last junior year with 700, 720, something like that. So it's been faster than what I thought. Not a lot faster, but slightly faster. And I don't know. I didn't, of course, and of course, I didn't expect be thinking about open goals in just 2025. I thought it was gonna be like more time. I mean, we don't know what will happen in 2 years, but I didn't expect being thinking about winning a world open champion in 2025. But now I feel like I can think about that. Not be sure about that, but just think about it.
On the table, look at 740, 750. Callie was hitting 754 at Swedish Nationals. Later on that same year, he won the Worlds. It's you start hitting around 740, 750, you're getting a lot closer. The
Yeah.
progress is there. And not only just the progress on your total, though, but everything from 2021 is so much bigger now with you. Like, did you anticipate even the social media boom that you've experienced, Spain's boom in terms of powerlifting? I mean, I almost want to go back and listen to our other podcast to listen to us talk about it because I think we were talking then about how Spain was on the rise, but all around, Spain as a nation and yourself in terms of social media and your star on the rise. Why were you taking this on? Does this feel like holy shit? This is happening quickly, and do you see where this is heading?
To be honest, during that year when we first talked, that year was not for me like I was not very focused on social media because, as I told you, I was like in an exchange program in the US, so I was more focused on just enjoying my time there. But I decided when I came back to Spain that I wanted to focus more on social media because I felt like, I mean, fitness is improving a lot in Spain, not only in powerlifting but also in fitness in general. So I felt like many people that I know were growing in social media, that they do not powerlifting, but they were so growing in social media, and for me it was like, man, I'm a world champion. I might be a second time world champion, and I'm still not as recognized as I should be. It was kind of personal, like I feel like I need more recognition for what I do. So I decided that I had to start focusing more on social media. And during this year, I have tried to post more frequently, improve quality, also try to collaborate with another influencers here from Spain. And he has grown a lot. I think that I still need to grow much more. I feel like comparing to other people I see in the fitness sector in Spain, I feel like I'm not as good as other persons like as in social media. Like I mean, it's I feel like maybe comparing to powerlifting, for example, I'm good at powerlifting, but at social media, I feel like it's not something natural for me. You know what I mean? So I feel like I have to improve in that, and I will try during this year, especially after these goals. I feel like I have a lot of opportunities to grow in social media.
It's well, first off, I mean, you're doing phenomenal, man. But you're right. Your standards are high, and that's good. Like you're right in that in powerlifting, you're killing it. Like you're doing phenomenal. I see the views and the likes that and the traction that you get on your posts, and particularly it's weird because sometimes, like for instance, I mean I always do comparisons to like MMA and boxing because those are sports I watch. But when George St. Pierre was the champion, he converted Canada into an MMA nation. Everybody I knew at the time was watching the UFC because we had George St. Pierre. And Dana White was like, it's crazy the pay-per-view buys that George St. Pierre has, the viewership, the traction he gets. And when we look at who's buying, the percentage of people from Canada buying was insane. And Pena and the French have converted France into a powerlifting nation. And the amount of like rallying behind them was huge. And it appears as though you're doing the same in Spain because the amount of support you get, like globally for sure, and other Spanish speaking nations for sure. But Penance talked about, because I asked him, like, how come you don't put out more English content? And he's like, my friend, the algorithm will actually punish you if it punish me if I do so. And he understands the algorithm. And he's like, if I stay in my lane and stay in my pocket, the viewership and traction will grow exponentially. And that's work for him. And I noticed your YouTube videos in Spanish, your content, and you could, in terms of Instagram, you can hit see translation. It'll put it into English for you, but you found your pocket and the support has been phenomenal, man. I just, has that been a shock to you? And do you feel pressure at all from it? Or are you kind of like, man, I got to, because obviously, Penna ended up winning two titles and whatnot and like whatever. Are you like, holy shit, now that all the eyes are on me, you're winning, you're a two-time champion, but you're about to jump into the open and these are monsters. I know I'm throwing a couple different questions at you, but
Nah, I love that. I mean, I love that because for me, I always perform better as an underdog that as the five that comparing to being the favorite. I love that a bit about like showing up. It's like when everybody knows that I'm gonna win, it's harder for me because I have that pressure. But when I'm like the underdog, it's like I cannot deceive anybody. It's just like I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna show who I am. You know. So I actually love that feeling about people looking at me. I always this has been my. I think this has been my only competition that I actually performed under expectations, but I still won. So like every time we go to a meet, we always make what we know we were gonna make. I mean, when I was second in last Europeans against Miyagi, we knew that we were gonna be second. But I mean, we achieved the most we could. In every competition I have been, I achieved the most we knew that we could achieve in that competition. So I feel like I always perform better at competition because I really love that pressure. When I was younger, like 12 years old, I competed at soccer in Spain at high level. So I know what is competing at high level since I was a kid, so I don't feel afraid about that. I also feel really proud and feel very grateful about all the recognition I'm getting in Spain because it's like sometimes I don't know, I go to a club or I go out with my friends or something, and some people maybe recognize me. They ask me for a photo, and I
really,
mean that's now, yeah, now I'm kind of used to that, but it's still I'm still very happy because I feel like I'm actually making an impact in Spain in this sport, and I'm actually helping for new lifters to have a better life that I may had when I started in powerlifting.
100%. My friend, when you, oh, first off, all right, well, let me double back that because I was going to say, because you were living in the US and now that you're back in Spain, I think that's huge. Because for everything we just said, expanding powerlifting in Spain. But when that boom in France really came about when they started doing major things within the sport, the content, winning titles, etc. You have to perform and you have to be putting out quality content. And you need stars like that to bring people in. You're a key figure in Spanish powerlifting. Who else is there really? Is there anybody your size in powerlifting in Spain?
I don't think so. I mean,
Thanks.
of course, people from Spain can not agree with that, but to be honest, I don't feel there's anybody as big in powerlifting. There's another person that is called Joan Prades. I don't know if you don't know him. He's
Right.
really, really big at fitness, but it's more like bodybuilding. It's not. He did powerlifting before. He did not compete, so he also helped a lot powerlifting when he worked out for powerlifting. But he's not a bodybuilder, so I feel like nowadays in powerlifting in Spain, there's nobody as big as me. First of all, in social media, there's nobody that does powerlifting in Spain that has more followers than me. I feel like the second one has the half of me, the half followers than me, and also about trophies, about medals. I mean, I feel like nobody has ever been. I don't know if anybody in the world has ever been two times junior world champion in different weight classes. I don't even know
Mm.
if that has happened in the world. In Spain, of course, it has not happened. We have, I feel like, I think there are only three Spanish junior world champions in Spain. So yeah, of course, I think nowadays I'm the biggest powerlifter in Spain for sure.
And when we look at what they did over there in France, and they took on SPD France, they obviously silent worker, they're holding meets, they're involved with the federation. Do you have hopes and aspirations of doing things like launching clothing lines, or have you already, or doing like working with the federation to somehow continue growing down this path and start looking that way?
Yeah, I mean, I have thought about a lot about that. I mean, about like a clothing line or some equipment like knee sleeves or belts, or working together with the Spanish Association to organize better tournaments or something like that. But the thing is, I'm still studying at the university. I'm doing a master, and I'm finishing
Mhm.
on February, March. So I will probably, when I finish my master, I will probably, instead of just start working, I will probably try to spend a few months, like I don't know, maybe 6 months, something like that, trying to work on social media and trying to, I mean, I will have more time to think about ideas. You know, now it's like all my days are like just working out, uh, going to university, studying, seeing a friend, competing, and I cannot even think. I mean, I don't have time to think. I just execute. You know, so when finish my master, I will try to spend some months like focusing on social media and just trying to think ideas to grow as a person and as a professional, you know. And I don't know, I really want to do that, but I think I need to be in a time where I have enough time to do it.
100%. First off, there's not enough time in a day if you're already doing everything you're doing. But there is, well, you might come to a point where you need to start surrounding yourself with like a team. And I don't know if you already have, but I know when I was in France, they have like, for instance, Penna has a guy who's editing his videos for him and putting these out quick. And obviously, silent workers like Turbo Tiff, Leah, Penna, there's a bunch of them, and all of them are big and world champions, et cetera, which also helps, right? You don't get to choose if Spain has like four other people who are world champions. Like that happens over time. So having a team around you helps, and you can start working as a team. All right, who could belt off these videos? Who could help put together competitions? And you're young and they're older. Leah is 30 or 29, 30. Penn is in his late 20s. So they're a little in different spots in life. But because this happened before, you could see how it can work. You know, you could see how, like, all right,
Yeah.
when I'm done my master's, I could start building my team. I could start seeing, you know what, you have ambition. You know, you have drive. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. Let's do this. So do you want, you know, and you start allocating things.
I mean, I do have a team. I have my coach, Oscar Sanchez, that he has helped me a lot, and not everything, but a lot of the things that I have achieved is just because of him. He's like an older brother for me, and I mean, he's a coach. He's also ambitious. He also wants to make things to improve powerlifting, and when I finish my masters, I will probably talk to him. I will tell him my ideas, and we'll see what we can do together. I have I am working with I'm already working with a filmmaker like since 2 years ago. He always
Nice.
edits all my YouTube's videos. He's the one that is editing them, and he comes to film when I ask him. For example, to worlds, to Europeans, to Spanish nationals, and these worlds also. He came to film everything. I'm actually uploading the video tonight. So I already have like a filmmaker and an editor. I also have my coach, that is a very important person for me. It's kind of a tutor, kind of like a mentor. And I don't know, when I like in March, something like that, I will start thinking about what I wanna develop. But also, what you say, it is difficult because in France you have several lifters that are not only strong but they are also kind mainstream. You know, like Leah, Panas. They have Samantha también. Also,
Hell yeah.
and it's harder to find like influences like powerlifting influences in Spain. You know, there's Tony, you know, Antonio Perez, the
Yeah.
105 junior lifter, that he also creates content, but there's, I think, he's the biggest as a lifter. That he's the most mainstream as a lifter with me. So we are not a lot, and it's hard to find collaborations like somebody to train with, so you can upload a video or something like that together. So it's hard, but I think it's improving.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Anthony, he broke a world record in the 105s this year, and he's phenomenal as well.
Yeah,
He's another one, man. You guys got a good solid team. Someone else, she won the junior worlds and is now in the open, and she won a bronze as well, is Maya the Silva.
yeah.
She's good, man,
The
and
thing
she's
is,
in the
Maya,
57s.
Maya, I think the thing about Maya is she's not as active in social media. You know, she's really strong. So she's really strong, of course, but she's not as active in social media. So that makes her to like to make a video or something. But of course, we have a really Spain is developing a really really good team, and all those junior guys that are now junior, when they become open, I think Spain can be dangerous.
This is one for sure. Spain's going to be dangerous. Spain's juniors have proven that. And yeah, Maya definitely on social media isn't pushing, but this is where you got to start reaching. When you see these people, you got to start reaching out and be like, hey, let's build you up a little bit on here. Let's work together. We could do good business together. You gotta let's work together here. I got a vision. Trust me. But yeah, it's Spain has a lot of quality lifters, and it'll be about putting out that content. Uh, and it's I'm glad you got it's funny how it's a sign of the times that you do have a videographer around with you. And but of course you do. Like so many people do. I remember 2019, Russell Orhe in the back in the warm-up room for the World Championships had his videographer there, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's got a videographer with him." Like a filmmaker, like, oh my God,
Yeah,
isn't this crazy? And now normal. That's normal.
yeah. The thing is, it's hard. I mean, because I mean, we don't get paid anything, you know. So for me, like, I had to pay all the cost, not only for me, but also for the filmmaker, you know.
Hmm.
So each time I have an international meet, is very very expensive for me because, as I said, it's not only my expenses, it's my expenses and the filmmaker expenses, you know. And it's also sometimes hard uh, to be able to make your filmmaker get into the warm-up room, you know. I mean,
Mm.
now they are helping me and now we can do that, but I don't know if next time, if next meet, they are not gonna let me let him get in, you know. So I feel like that's also another thing that IPF and EPF should improve, that they should uh, make easier for the content creators like me or the lifters in general to create content, because it's helpful, it's really really helpful for the sport. So because if they make easier for me to make a video, I will make a better video, and that will be a video that much more people are gonna see, and much more people is gonna know powerlifting, you know. So I feel like that's also another thing that the IPF should work on. I'm very grateful because these two times they have helped me, but I feel like they have to improve in that.
You're right in that it takes money to make money. So when you see this and you're like, okay, I have to pay for my videographer to come. I have to pay his expenses, I have to pay for his time, etc. And right now you don't have a lot of money coming in, let's say. But because you paid for that up front, you've built your social media to where it is now. You can in the future have money coming in And now it's all right. Well, it pays for itself. As a matter of fact, it'll pay for itself and more. You start launching because you'll be in terms of the Spanish speaking world with powerlifting. If you're at the forefront, you put out an app, you put out programs, you're the one speaking Spanish, speaking that language, who's going to be first to market. And you got two world titles, two different weight classes. It gets easier and easier. And you've built that by paying a little bit of money up front and doing these things. So it's like an investment. Whereas
Yeah.
previously generations in powerlifting, they wouldn't have saw that. They'd be like, what is he doing? And to this point as well, some people are stuck in the past. So when Russell or he was doing this in 2019, and he had his videographer in the warm-up room, and it was so weird. People now at certain points, when you're talking about meet directors and federations allowing these videographers in the warm-up room, some of them, I think they're getting it now, but some of them at a certain point would have been like, I hate this generation of social media. They got all these entourage, and they'll think it's like annoying. They'll think it's like, oh man, you got to come with your entourage to film, so it's on social media. Like just lift, just blah blah blah, and they won't see the bigger picture. Where it's like, my friend, I am going to explode the sport in this nation if you let me do this. Help me help you by bringing these people in. And I think now that we've seen other nations blow up, like some powerlifting nations come out of nowhere due to the massive social media being put out by them. I think now some of these old school guys and girls are like, okay, we should allow this. This is this is actually for real media. As a matter of fact, they should start giving accreditation to them. Like media, I don't know if you follow, but like media credits for like they get access. We should
Yeah.
give them media access, just like when you have like, you wear it around your neck and you walk around, like they get to move around because it helps us.
I think each nation should have at least one media person for them. You know,
Yes.
like
Yeah, yeah.
Spain, at least one, and maybe if you have more than a minimum number of lifters, even have two. You know, so I mean, if I feel like it should be like that. I mean, as well as you can inscribe your athletes, as well as you can inscribe your coaches, you should at least be able to inscribe at least one media person, one, and if you reach certain number of liters, at least two, I feel that would be great for the sport because each nation could create their own content. It's not only about the person itself, but also the whole nation. And if the whole nation has that content, they will promote it all over the country.
Open it up. Like they can't do everything. For instance, the IPF, for instance, they've done a great job with like, I want to ask you about Eurosport and everything as well, the impact you think it feels. But they can't do everything, right? Like every nation has different languages, even. It's like you're not let these people from those nations bring in videographers so they can do Spanish content, Portuguese content, German content. IPF can't cover it all. You can't cover it all. And yes, English is like a language that most nations will speak, but we see the difference when you put out specific content for specific languages, like Spanish, like French, it matters. It's huge. In these federations, the global federations can't put it all out. So an easy way to fix that, let these lifters come and let these lifters get their videographers. And on top of that, if we're honest, you guys know more about social media and what pops, what works, what gets traction than anybody else who's like 60 years old doing. They'll be able to make the big decisions on a global federation. Sure, 100%. I trust. But in terms of social media, what's popping, what edits are working, trust the 20 somethings. Trust the guys and girls in their 20s who let them do it. That's their thing. So it's like they're subcontracting it out. It's like you don't even have to pay these people and they're going to advertise for you. They're going to do your social media for you. Just all you have to do is give them access. It's the best deal in the world.
Yeah, for
It's an
sure.
amazing deal.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it works out. It is things move, things change, and a lot of the time, people have to see why, and I think they're seeing why now. I think they're seeing what social media influencers can do for a particular nation, and we're going to see that more and more. Do you think, in terms of other nations in Europe, so in terms of Eurosport, because I'm in North America, so I hear about it, and obviously I'm on the stream, but I can't watch Eurosport even though I'm on Eurosport. It's kind of weird. But what is the impact of that? Have you seen it on Eurosport? How does it look? The I
I feel
Yeah.
like I mean the thing is they only streamed like the heavyweight classes. So the thing is, I to be honest, I didn't watch it. Okay, because I don't watch heavyweight classes. But the thing is, even if I don't watch it, just the fact that Eurosport is streaming a powerlifting competition makes the sport more professional. If people ask me where can I see the competitions, if I answer them by YouTube, they are gonna be like, "What sport is that? Is that you
Mm.
just see a competition by YouTube?" If I told them in Eurosport, then they will be like, "Oh, that's an important thing." If they stream it on TV, that's an important thing. So I feel that's great that TVs start betting for powerlifting. I think that it should be not only like heavyweight classes because um, I feel like nowadays not so many people watch heavy weight classes. Probably 74, 93 are the most um, watch weight classes nowadays. So I feel like they should expand that contract and not only streaming that weight classes, but also like the most common ones. Also, another problem about TV is that they want to do it like very fast, very condensed. So the problem is that because I know Ruben Rico, I think you probably know him because he
Mm.
is my coach, also trains him. So the thing is, they only had 2.5 hours, I think, for the stream. So the meet had to be really really fast. I mean, Ruben
Yeah.
Rico, you can imagine Ruben Rico that is 200 kilos having to run from bench to deadlift because he had no time to warm up, because they had to do the competition in only 2.5 hours. So that's a problem about TV. But I think that if the TV sees that more and more people are watching it, then they will be more flexible with the scale.
The Eurosport this year had the 93s, but I think you're right. I would have liked, I can't remember if they had the 74. I don't think they had 74s.
No,
The
they didn't.
74s,
They didn't.
here's the thing, the 93s usually are like amazing right down to the very last deadlift. This year we have 93s on Eurosport, and Kaiko wins on his second deadlift, and it's already over. And it's like, oh man, usually Kaiko is always the very last deadlift, and then someone's deadlifting after him to take it from him, and usually it's like that. In this year, it's on Eurosport, and Kaiko like smokes it
Yeah.
and goes 9 for 9 20. It's like, well, it is what it is. You can't. That's the thing with sports. You make a guess. Like when Eurosport's asking what divisions, you're like, I think this will be a good one. Let's do this weight class. Although the women's 84 plus, oh my gosh, my friend, that was a good one to pick. That was maybe the best on the women's side, at least maybe all of the IPF. But you're right, the IPF worlds. But you're right in terms of the speed. It was so fast. Some of the bigger lifters that are shifting major weight, like Jesus Oliveras, the speed was killing him. If he's got some time, like at Sheffield, he's going to put up some crazy weight. But if you make him go quick, you make him go that quick, The 120s, the same thing. These guys start burning out because it's hard to squat over 1,000 pounds, 455 kilos twice in the same day. It just
Yeah.
they start. It's like, man, this is too quick. This is a little too quick. However, in terms of viewing, I mean, you're right. I don't think the general public wants to sit around for 3.5 hours. Like that just can't happen. It's got to be tight. Even baseball games, those are long and those are like 3 hours. You can't, if we're trying to bring people into the sport who aren't in the sport yet, you can't make them sit down there for like 4 hours, four and a half hours.
The thing is, I don't think they should have to sit down for 3 hours and be bored. The thing is, I feel like there is a lot of death time in powerlifting. The thing is, between lifter and lifter, there's a lot of death time that is really, really boring. And also between group and group, and between movement and movement, there's a lot of death time that is very, very boring. So the thing
Hmm.
is, I think they should put something over there so it's not that boring. For example, what I said to you, just put a camera that follows the lifters. So that time when they are working out is not boring. It's actually interesting because you are watching the lifter just like here. And also
Mm.
like I don't know, after a lift, you can put just some clip of the lifter, just the lifter like this, something like I don't know, like an image or something like that. And also between movements, you can put like the qualification, but not only, for example, after you do a squat, no, after you do bench, or yeah, after you do bench, they only show the bench, but they should show the bench and the total, so people can like start to figure out what are the possibilities for one to win, for another to win. So I feel like they should put more effort in that death time. That they should try to make that death time actually useful.
I think 100%. They show while the lifter's lifting, okay, they're currently in this place, and if they get this lift, it'll move them to that place. Like from, for instance, you're currently in sixth. If you get this bench, you end up in third. However, I think to your point, showing the top 10 at least overall. So it's like, well, okay, that moves them to third, but who's getting bumped down? Who's ahead of them? Who's right below them? What's the score overall? If they show the actual top 10 score more often, just flash it up there. So I know, okay, oh, gotcha. Okay, Alberto's still in second. It's not going to affect him. All right, Kian is, just so I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. The thing is, I mean, only I feel like only a person that understands powerlifting can understand like the strategy behind powerlifting. Because
Mm.
and you also have to be in with the phone watching a good lift while you watch the TV. So just the thing is, you should not have to watch your phone. It should have just been on the TV. What are the qualification? What are the rankings? So you can see directly the strategy. What this guy should have done, what this guy are gonna do next, what this guy needs to win, what this guy needs to lose. But you have to watch that directly without anybody, without the phone. Also, like the commentators, I really like when you commentate like the meets, because you actually tell things to the viewers. It's not just about Alberto Herraiz is gonna lift 270. I mean, they all know that. They are seeing that. It's like you have to tell them something extra. You have to tell them something that they don't know. You have to tell them, okay, if he does this, he's gonna be first place. If he fails this, it's gonna happen this. I mean, the commentator has to tell to the viewer something that he's not seeing just with the image.
Yeah, like for instance, let's say somebody's like we were talking about the 93s. When Keiko's squatting and he's going against Chance Mitchell, I the extra information you could give, for instance, would be he's squatting. This will put him in first place in squats. And you already see that on the screen. However, more importantly, Chance Mitchell has a monster deadlift coming. Kaiko needs these kilos. He's in first already in squats. He's going to be first if he gets this in squats. But there's a bigger picture here. He needs these 10 kilos because he needs to force the hand of Chance Mitchell.
Yeah, for example,
And
something like that.
that's what I try to do. Thank you very much, by the way, for the compliment. But that's what I try to do when I'm doing the commentating is why is this important? Yes, he'll get a gold in squat and he'll be first in squat. But bigger picture, why is this important? Because the majority of his total is going to come in squats. And because there's some bigger deadlifters down there and he's got to load up now. It's now or never. If he misses this squat, he's in big trouble in deadlifts. Now, oh my gosh, he better hit this. Now you care more about if he hits this.
Yeah, of
And
course,
it's
of course.
right, as opposed to, okay, he's first in squats before he hits it. Why does it matter if he hits it or not? Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you why. And then when Chance comes out, now you already know. I already talked about Chance. We already have identified who's a threat and what's going on. But yeah, you're right. That takes it's easier for me because I have all you guys on the podcast, so I know your story. Like
Yeah,
when you come out, I would be like, here is a rising star in Spain, the nation on the rise, and he's at the forefront of it. He's got the country on his back. This means so much. I could tell this story and start talking, two-time world champion in juniors, now opening up into the open. And just you start talking about this, but I feel like it's almost cheating for me because I got a podcast. I know all your guys' background stories. I repost all the time.
but I feel like there's probably a lot of people that are like nerds, like kind of nerds of powerlifting,
Yeah.
that they know everybody in powerlifting. They may
Well,
not do a podcast like you, but they know everybody because I know some friends from Spain that they don't know that they know people that I have no idea about. So probably there's people that actually knows. I mean, maybe not everybody, but they knows actually more people that they actually knows like a decent amount of people, so they can commentate. And it's not about knowing them, but just if you watch, I mean, it's just about studying like the meet. If you just watch the openers, you can kind of understand how the meet is gonna be. So you can, I mean, even if you don't know the lifters, just by seeing the numbers, you can tell some things.
yeah. And a little bit of research ahead of time always helps. If you're going to be doing some commentary anyways. But I do think for sure the streams have a couple things that we could add on to. And the other idea you're saying in terms of the moving camera, I think is an excellent idea. And also even having some content so we don't just leave for 10 minutes and come back 10 minutes later is
Sure.
having that 10 minutes filled. Have the 10 minutes filled with someone's
For
story,
example,
someone's something. It's tell
yeah.
Alberto's
For example,
you know,
if you do what I said before, like the press conference before the meet, you can just put clips of the press
right.
conference, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you can hype up the competition, or even
Yeah.
like or even like the three best lifters in the nominations. You just uh, ask them to I don't know, to upload to record a video of themselves telling something. I don't know, or maybe you can do a lot of things to put in that 10 minutes that's totally waste of time.
Think for sure, even if you catch them, even if it's day before, and you're like, I got three questions for you. Who do you think is the number one threat? Or going into bench press, where do you hope to be? Or whatever. So I have that content. So when we're going into bench press, I drop that clip, or when we're going into whatever. I just, it depends. It's all situational on the weight class, obviously, like the different storylines. But when you know the storylines, if I ask you specific questions and that was a good soundbite, we're going to use that, and you just clip it and hold it. And then in the break, you drop those in. I mean, I think as we get bigger, more viewers, bigger sponsorship money, they could start dropping more and more money for bigger staff, more people running around with a camera and collecting this kind of
Yeah,
content. It'll
I
happen.
feel the same.
It and I think events like Sheffield make everybody level up. Once Sheffield happened, everybody's like, wow, we gotta do more. we, we need to do more. It's good.
Yeah,
The IPF is doing more on the social media for sure. The social media has gotten way better, like asking questions, finding winners, asking questions. But I think on the actual stream, taking some of those questions and interviews and plumping them on the screen, like you said, would be
yeah, I feel the same.
a good
I feel the
idea.
same.
Yeah. How do you feel about Sheffield? Do you think it's definitely leveled up the rest of the powerlifting game?
To be honest, I didn't watch it.
Oh
Eh,
my God. Everybody watched it. What? Oh,
I didn't. I don't. To be. I don't. I'm not like a sports fan. I mean, I like practicing sport, but I don't like watching it. Like when I play football,
wow.
it was the same. When I play soccer, it was the same. I loved playing soccer, but I did not watch it. I mean, I have seen some clips, and some. I mean, to be honest, I just watch Taylor lives, and I don't think I watch a lot more. But the things I saw, I think the most important thing was the two I said. Well, was for sure the cameraman that is moving. Also, I think they had like an image between lifters that
Yeah.
they were like standing up or something like that. I think, and also you could see like the ranking at the top. I think, and also I really like that before the meet they try to hype up the meet. Like they did interviews, they took photos of them. I mean, they try to hype up the meet, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, they did a lot of good, man. They did a lot of good. And you know what? You not watching too much powerlifting probably keeps you a little more grounded, a little more, it'll get overwhelming. You could get burnt out if you get
Yeah,
everything is powerlifting related. Did you watch, what do you think about the banter between like Perkins, Austin Perkins and Taylor and Callie and like, do you like the banter? Do you like the trash talk? Do you not like the trash talk? What do you think about this kind of stuff?
they're gonna make me start the trust talk too, or what? The thing is, I mean, I feel like somebody can only tells that he's gonna win when he shows up. You know what I mean? I mean, you cannot say I'm the best. You cannot say I'm. I could have won that. I could have done that. I could have. I could have. I could have. You just have to go there and show. You know, it's like that. I mean, because everybody can join Powerlifting America and compete, win, and then win at Worlds. You know, so that's the only thing that matters. That day, Taylor didn't perform well. I mean, and sometimes it happens, but he at least went there, and it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy because I mean, it's not easy competing in another country. It's not easy having a 20-hour flight. It's not easy spending so much money. It's not easy not having your coach. I mean, there are a lot of things about competing at the IPF that are not easy. So I feel like anybody that wants to disrespect anybody that is competing in a world championship has to prove it in a world championship.
And do you think, a little bit of trash talk is a good thing for the sport in terms of bringing interest and hype?
I mean, of course, I feel it's a good thing because it's gonna hype up. The thing is, what I really like about Trust Talk is like they Trust Talk, but they are actually gonna compete, and afterwards it's like mm, somebody's gonna lose and somebody's gonna win. It's not just about some dogs barking each other, but they are not gonna fight. It's like two dogs. If they bark, they have to fight, and after that fight, one will be the loser, and the other one will be the winner. And I feel like that trust talk actually matters and actually is important when they are actually gonna compete each other. I mean, I'm not that kind of lifter because I'm very, very confident about what I'm gonna do. So I don't actually need that trust talk. I mean, I have sometimes in Spain we also have that same trust talks. and sometimes
Really?
they have done that to me, and I'm always quiet.
Really?
Uh, yeah, yeah, and I'm always quiet. But then after the meet, I just said, "I told you, man. I told you. I told you." But I don't like to talk before the meet. But I do think it's actually a good thing for powerlifting. For example, MMA, the trash talk before MMA is huge. I mean, I'm 100% sure all the trash talk is not real. They actually force it. You know, so I feel like it's a good thing for powerlifting, but I feel like everybody has to understand that this part of the show. That is not um, about bad relationships. That is part of the show, and I think it's a good thing. For example, when Michael Jordan also trash talked a lot, and I for sure think it's a good thing for powerlifting. But as I said, everybody needs to understand that this is just part of the show.
Like I could tell you right now, nothing will rally a nation like if Spain's already behind you. Can you imagine going head to head if some American starts coming at you? Spain would rally behind you with
Yeah,
a bunch of you already have you told Spain to comment on the King of the List post, and hundreds of Spanish flags appeared in the King of the List comments. Nothing rallies a nation and rallies your base like a little trash talk. It's true. It makes like if you get like, oh my God, this guy just came at me, all your supporters will be like, the fuck he is. And we'll take your back. And if you like post it up saying, show them who you're supporting, and all of
yeah,
a sudden it emboldens them even more. It makes you even more popular. This is what other nations have enjoyed. Is this kind of
yeah. I didn't think about that because, as I told you, I have experienced that trash talk, but only in Spain. So in
mm,
Spain, everybody knows you. So especially for me, I have to be more. I have to think more about what I say.
right.
But if I know, I'm pretty sure if somebody from other country, for example, from the US, I don't know, from other country, tells me anything, I know that then I will probably don't be so silent as I am now in Spain. You know what I mean? Because if somebody from another country, I'm not gonna see him again. We don't share the same public, the same viewers, so I don't care what they think about me. So I will make all Spanish people to go against him. And yeah, that will be funny, to be honest.
Yeah, because like if you're both in Spain, it'll divide. It could divide. But if it's anyone outside of Spain, it just makes you bigger. It's like, oh, good, 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 good. Now everybody in Spain's going to be more have my back. In the storyline, I become Spain's hero. Like that's what happened with Pena when in the 66s, everyone in France is like, yeah, we got one. Get them. Like, silence these guys, whatever. It makes you even bigger. So yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing, and it makes it easier when it's worlds because it just makes your people pick your side. It makes your
Yeah.
nation more, and when you win, they're even more proud and like, yes, okay, that boy. Do you want to play the name game where I say a name and you give me um a word, two words off the top of your head? You can give a story, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But I just say a name, you tell me what you're thinking. I could say Jesus Oliveras, and you could say massive squat or world's strongest man.
Okay.
Or you
Okay.
could say
Perfect.
or you could get into a whole story if you want. It doesn't really matter. But first, my friend, I got to do a quick pee break if you don't mind.
I will. What? Sorry.
I got to do a quick pee break if you don't mind.
For sure. No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Okay. I will probably have to think about the answer because I'm not so fast in English, but I will do my best. I will do my best.
Yeah, no worries, man. You take it. It's more just to stimulate a conversation, anyways. Like sometimes people just have a one-word answer, two-word answers. Sometimes we just get into a conversation anyway, so
Yeah,
it's all good.
that's bad. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you're leaving this. You've already left the 66 kilo class, but let's jump into the 66 kilo class for our first name. The current world champion, Henna Giotis from France.
Mm, I don't know how strong is that guy. I don't understand how can that guy be so strong. I mean, because he is very strong, but he has not a lot of muscle mass. So it's mind blowing for me how he can be so fucking strong. And I feel like he has been very important for powerlifting because he has reached a bigger community. So I think that all powerlifting should be grateful for what Pana has done to powerlifting.
And do you think, while we're talking about Pennant, do you think at some point he also should move to 74? Or do you think he stays 66? What do you think?
I mean, if he keeps winning, then there's no reason to move up, you know. But the day he stops winning, I don't know how old is Pana. How old is he?
I believe he's 28.
28. Maybe he is a little bit late to move to 74. I mean, but if if he keeps winning, I think there's no reason to move up. If he starts losing because there's like a monster, a new monster in 66, he will probably have to try to move up.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, there's so many good contenders right now in the 66s at the Worlds. He's got work to do. He's got rivals, and yeah, he's a two-time world champion in the Open. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. All right, let's move into the 74s. How about Taylor Atwood?
I knew you were gonna ask him the first. For me, it's an inspiration and probably for everybody from my generation. It's like Messi is of powerlifting, probably. You know, Messi, of course. I
Of
suppose.
course.
I mean, it's like Messi of powerlifting for me is like the greatest natural talent. Of course, he has worked a lot to reach what he has, but it's probably the biggest natural talents powerlifting has had in last years. And I mean, it's probably the person that everybody my age has been inspired with. I mean, for me, it has been always the one to look up to. I don't have idols because I don't like to have one because I want to be Alberto Herraiz, and I don't want to be another person. But probably he was an inspiration for me, and not only because of his performances, but also because of him. I mean, he's always a very respectful guy. He is a family guy, and he just competes, does his work, and does his work very well, and that's it.
How about Deadlift Miyagi, Callie Johansson from Sweden, the current world champion?
It's probably it's probably like the one that inspires me because it's my age. Is my age, and I have a lot of respect for him. I also have a really good relationship with him. He told me he was rooting for me during World before Worlds,
Oh,
and I
wow.
don't know. I mean, I feel it's gonna be fun. I don't know if he's gonna move up to 83 soon or not, but I feel like it's gonna be he's for sure a talent. I mean, he's for sure gonna be a big name in powerlifting, not only this year but also all the years that are coming because he's still very young. And I don't know, for me it's very inspiring and I'm happy that if he stays in 74, I think it's gonna be a great battle between him and me with all the years we still have left in powerlifting. Of course,
Speak-
he is now ahead a lot way ahead, but I feel in 2 years, 2025, I will be able to catch him.
Speaking of great battles in the 74s, how about Tim Monagatti?
To be honest, I don't follow. I mean, I follow him, but just recently, just after 74s, because he was 83 before. I'm actually, I'm really surprised what he has done because it's crazy to move down a weight class and still keep that total. So for me, he was kind of like the underdog. I mean, I feel like nobody who would have bet he was gonna win Taylor, and he did. So I mean, I cannot say much more about him because I don't know him more. But I feel he's gonna also be a very, very, very big power lifter in the next years.
The thing with Tim, phenomenal powerlifter, obviously, but like he also ranked higher than Atwood at Worlds, right? He came in second. And everybody credits Callie for the win and beating the GOAT, Taylor Atwood. But a lot of people, some people like, people don't mention Tim also beat Taylor. And some of that is Tim's quiet. He's in person he's kind of a shy guy, keeps to himself. But even with podcasts, doesn't I've talked to him a couple times. He said he's going to come on, but he didn't want to come on before Worlds. Either of the times, not last time either, which I can appreciate. I mean, it's just not it's outside of his comfort zone. The problem is, and I can respect that. The problem is though, it takes people don't know your story. People don't,
Yeah,
you're kind of
I
taken out of
feel
it.
I feel the same. I mean, I feel like you part of being one of the greatest athletes of all time is being also a good like and star. It's not only about performing at the platform, but if you actually want to be remembered as one of the greatest athletes of all time, you have to improve that part. Like you have to make your name known. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, probably he doesn't care about that, and that's why he doesn't do it. But I really like. I agree with you that I really like athletes that are not only athletes, but they are also stars because those are the ones that are gonna be remembered in next 10 years, next 20 years, next 30 years.
Well, look at, for instance, Penna's story. The reason why, like, Penna could have just won and left. And people are like, wow, that's great. It's fun watching him because he grinds, he's in all these battles. But what makes Penna super memorable was his story with his father being sick. His father telling never has gone to one of Penna's international competitions. His father's sick. Penna's nominated fourth, and his father tells Penna, I think you're going to win this year. And Penna's like, I'm nominated fourth. He's like, this year you're going to win. And then his father showing up this year to the Worlds, the first world championship he ever showed up to. And Penna, the bombing out at Euros, coming in fifth at last Worlds, having a terrible 2022, in telling his story. So when he told before the competition, he was on King of the Lifts saying, I'm going to win. And I'm going to win for my dad. And I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And like the tension in the story that it builds, people would like him because he won and it's entertaining, but they'll never forget his story. And they'll never forget how they felt about it and the inspiration it is. And if
Yeah,
you don't tell people, if you're not willing to open up a little, and some people might be like, well, I don't have a story like that. It's okay. Just come on and just be you. At least I know you. You don't have to have a crazy story. Just let me hear about you. Let me whatever. And be like, all I need is, he's a good guy. I like that guy. And then that could be enough. Even then, you'll say something I relate to. Even if Tim came on and is like, and I still think he's gonna come on, by the way, but if he comes on is like, I'm out of my element, I'm a little out of my comfort zone when I do this, people will hear that and be like, I identify with that. I also am a quiet dude who kind of likes to keep to himself. There's something we said for the person who's thrust in the light and is uncomfortable with it. And there's something endearing about that. When you're like, look at man, I'm out of my element. I'm out of my comfort zone here. People will be like, I identify with that. And he's doing it anyways. And he's in the middle, like when he does Sheffield and he's going to Sheffield now, there's going to be interviews. There's going to be tons of attention. Like it or not, it's coming, right?
yeah. I
So
totally agree with that. I feel like you have to tell a story for people to be inspired with you and to actually support you. I mean, it's hard for me always to explain myself in this podcast because English is not my natural language, so I may not be as I mean, I cannot express myself so well. So maybe the story I can tell is not as soaking, as inspired. It's not so inspirational, But when I speak in Spanish, when I do an interview in Spanish, when I do my YouTube videos, I always try to make people understand what I have suffered to reach this place. When if you I don't know if you will watch my YouTube video from the meet, but if you just go to the end, you will watch me crying like I have never cried because it was a really important meet for me, and I didn't expect this win. So it made it also even bigger.
why is it? Why did it mean so much to you? This particular win.
Because I mean the thing is, I wanted to make history. It was not about winning a world championship. I have already done that. I know how it feels. It's not about that. It's about making history. It's about being. I don't know if has ever been any other person in the world that has won two world championships in two different weight classes as a junior. I have no idea if somebody has done that before. And it was about that. Also, it was about like mm, inspiring a nation. It was not about it was not only about me. It was about many people, many people. I cannot tell how many have told me that they have never seen a powerlifting competition before, and that they saw mine, and they actually liked it. So I know that from now on, many people are gonna start watching powerlifting. Also, it was summer here in Spain, and I spent this probably has been my last summer as a student. So this was probably my last big summer, and I spent all summer in home working out. I was really really good. I was really really motivated, and just 1 month out, I I fucked up and I got injured. So for me, it was like I'm not gonna make it. I had sacrificed a lot, and I'm not gonna make it. And I was actually assuming that I was not gonna make it. But that day, everything happened, and I won, and I didn't expect that. And for me, it was really important because, as I said, it was not only me; it was me and a whole nation that won that day.
What does it feel like to have like a nation behind you like that, knowing that you're at the forefront? Like you not single-handedly, but you were a massive piece of making powerlifting bigger in Spain and what you might do for all these Spanish speaking nations, knowing like, oh my God, and you're a junior. Wait till you get to the open. If you podium in the open, Alberto, forget about it. What you can do in the open. What does it feel like in terms of pressure, pride, all of that?
I, as I told you, I mean, it was not like uh, I actually love that because I know what I have done to reach here. I mean, like when I was younger, I had a TCA. I don't know if you say like that in English, like alimentary disorder. When I was younger, I was like my high school years were really 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 bad. Like losing a lot of friends, having a lot of problems. Like I I became a really 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 unhappy person. Also, I became like I was very mean to people, because I was not happy with myself. After that, I started powerlifting, and everything became better. And I started university. I met a lot of new friends, and everything started to get better. But after that, when everything was going better than ever in my life, I just COVID happened, and after that, those 2 years from 2020 to 20 from latest 2021, for me, was like those 2 years were like it was a lot of pressure. I mean, it was like I felt like I want to do something great, but at the same time, I felt so alone. And I had a lot of friends. I mean, and my family has always supported me, but I don't know why I felt so alone that for me it was like during those years, during those 2 years, probably most of the days I cried. And I didn't even understand why. It was like for me, it was like, why do I do this? I mean, it was like for me, powerlifting at that moment was kind of a drug. For me, it was like mm, I'm addicted to this. I really want to do this. I really want to win, but I'm actually losing a lot doing this sport. So for me, it was like 2 years of understanding why I do this and if I should keep doing this because I saw myself alone when I was 30 and it was really hard for me. As I told you, it was like more than the half of the days during those 2 years and I cried at night. Was like, why do I do this? And suddenly, with time, you become older and you start to understand life better. And I understood that this. I do this because I like it. I do this because I want to make history in this sport, but I do this because I want it. So I have to enjoy it because if I don't enjoy it, this will be short. So also I met a lot of new friends that helped me a lot, and now I'm happy with my life, and it's just about making history, but enjoying it. Because first time I go on worlds, for me it was not like enjoying it. For me it was like mm, a lot of pressure out of my chest. It was not like I actually was happy about that. It was like finally I made it. Now I can relax. This time was different. This time was like it was more emotional because I didn't expect it, but I actually could enjoy it.
Yeah, you could be in the moment and just appreciate. That's probably why you like being the underdog, because the pressure's not there for you if you're in the underdog. People think other people are going to win. So if you show up and do well, it's easier just to operate in the moment in
Yeah.
those situations. So why, when you were younger, why do you think it was different when you were younger? You said when you were younger, you felt different. You said you felt like you were mean to people at times. Do you think it's just because you were
I feel like
unhappy?
I feel like I I was since I was young, I was very ambitious. Like I always wanted to become better, and I started working out at 12. I started doing calisthenics when I was 12, and I started in the gym at 17. And all, and I felt like I was different because when you are 14, many people is just like I mean, they are kids. They are not thinking about their life. They just do what they think at that moment. They don't think far beyond. And for
Hmm.
me, since I started working out at 12, I has always been ambitious. I has always think that I can do more, that I will actually make something in this life that is gonna be important. I mean, of course, probably I'm not gonna change the world, but that for me at least is gonna be important. That I'm not gonna be another sheep. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it was difficult when I was younger because it's a life that um, probably many people doesn't understand. When I was like especially when I was 15, it was more because of my disorder, my alimentary disorder. That was the main problem. But so when that stopped, then everything became better. But probably the darkest moments of my life were between after COVID until beginning of after the end of 2021, and it's because I really wanted to make something, but I was seeing that I may not be able to make it, because I had a lot of dreams, but after COVID, all that dreams became, mm, I mean, didn't became clear, didn't were not clear. You know, I mean, I starting to doubt myself, and I felt like different from the people because I was working out. I was doing my best to be the best at powerlifting. I was also doing my best to grow on social media, and I had to stop doing a lot of things like traveling and many things just because of that dream. And at that moment, I was young and I didn't understand that, and I could not um, make could not find an equilibrium between that life and a normal life, you know. And after that, with the years, I just understood who I am and what makes me happy, and now I feel full. You know what I mean? I feel that I'm doing what I really want to do, and I'm not doing what a drug, in this case, powerlifting, makes me do. I don't know if I explained the difference properly.
I think I get like essentially
It's
even when
hard.
you were
It's hard for
younger.
me, to be honest. Sorry for interrupt
No,
you.
no,
It's hard for me to explain in English. I mean, it's probably deeper than what I actually said, but I tried to explain the better I could.
no. You, I think you did a good job. It's because you have so much potential, and to not live up to this potential or see the direction how you're going to, and you put pressure on yourself too. But you like now it's coming to fruition. And now these things, you're living up. But yeah, especially before you found powerlifting. If you wanted to make a statement and you wanted to do something special and make an impact, but you didn't have the direction, you didn't have your pathway, and the pathway's unclear. It's tough. But then you find powerlifting, and all of a sudden you're on your way. But until now, when do you think you really started finding your footing? When do you think you really started being like, okay, I know the path now. My goals are clear, and I've
Okay, when I started powerlifting when I was 17, like 6 years ago, I think that I found my way, and powerlifting was going really good. I was improving a lot, and I think I was happy with that. The thing is, COVID changed everything because it was a really really hard time without competing, and I also had some personal problems. So the thing is, at that time, everything became unclear because before that I knew my path, and it was very, very, very clear. But after COVID, and it's not because of COVID. I mean, that's like the inflection point, but it's not only about that. It's about a lot of things that happened in my life during that time that made me feel that that path that I had traveled during those years, that I sacrificed a lot for that path, maybe mm, it may be the grown path, and it started to become unclear. And when I won goals, first goals, that path became a little bit more clear, but I still had a lot of doubts because I won goals and I thought when I won goals, I will be happy. But I won goals, and after that, I was still not as recognized as I may think. I was still not making the money I may think. I was also, and for me, it was like, mm, is it worth it? I mean, I have mm, sacrificed a lot of things because of this sport, and I'm not sure if this is worth because I have separated from my family. I mean, I of course have a good relationship with my family, but maybe if I did not do powerlifting, I could do more. I could travel more with them. I could do a lot of many more things with them. With my friends, it's the same. It's like mm, I felt like I was not experiencing some things in life uh, from that are typical from people my age, and powerlifting was the thing that was stopping me to do that things. So for me, it also were unclear. But then I came back to Spain. First months were difficult after coming back from the US, but I think like from February or March this year, everything started to become more clear, and I actually understood that I can travel, I can do my life, I can spend time with my friends, and I can do a lot of things that I enjoy while still pursuing my dream, you know? And once I have won this, for me, it's like you have worked a lot, and now it's time to, you are in the good way. You had also kind of made history, and now it's time to reach another level. You know, it's like time to actually make things that are really, really big in open class, and I'm really motivated to do that now.
Yeah. No, I know it makes sense. And I think that's some of this what a lot of juniors will feel is you dedicate so much like you long Lee the 93 junior. He made a post going into the junior world championship saying, I'm going to be on, he's the defending world champion in the 93s. He made a post saying, like, I feel a little lost here. I don't even know if I want to continue powerlifting after this junior world championship. Don't expect much from me. I know I'm the number one nomination. Don't expect that much from me because I've been just little bits of training. Because sometimes some juniors feel this way where, am I going to make that progression? Am I going to jump from juniors to open? Am I going to live up to this, that, or whatever? How or is this coming to a close for me? What was it all? Was it all worth it? I put so much of my life into this, so much of my identity into this. Um, and it's a jump from junior to open. Uh, so I know what you mean. I think a lot of what you've expressed is a common feeling for a lot of people in a lot of things in life.
I think that the important thing, because many people, many junior lifters quit when they stop being juniors. And I
Right.
feel like the important thing is, of course, every one of us is sacrificing things, but the thing is, I feel like it's about finding an equilibrium. You know, I mean, the good thing about sport is not being a big sport, is that you can still continue with your normal life. You know, you can still going to university, you can still go out with my friend with your friends, you can still traveling. So the thing is finding that equilibrium, like understanding who you are and who you want to become and what you are willing to sacrifice, but understanding that you don't have to sacrifice your life to become world champion. That powerlifting is a part of your life, but it's not your only life, you know. So I feel that's the most important thing, and is the thing that was the hardest for me. Like, because I now can enjoy, I mean, I do powerlifting, but I know how enjoying myself. So I don't get burned, you know, like as you said, that 93 lifter, because if you get burned, you are gonna probably quit soon. So I feel like the most important thing is finding that equilibrium with your personal life and your sport life.
That's tough. It's tough because it's it takes so much of your time and people recognize you for it and it's what they want to talk about when they see you and it's a balance, right? It gets difficult. And then if you start making money off of it, which you keep getting a following like you, once you go into the open, I got a feeling certain things, certain doorways are gonna open up for you when you're done school. You could start pursuing things, and yeah, it is what it is. But you'll the thing with you, you've already like the totals you're putting up at this age, you could see the pathway where you're going to be competitive in the open, and the impact you've made already, and it's already there without ever having to even step foot in the open. You've already made this kind of an impact, so it's you see it. It's a little more clear, but it's not like that for all juniors, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like that for you until things started moving in that direction. Like you don't know until it happens. Back to the name game, my friend. I got two more names for you, and then we'll wrap it up. One more name in the 74s or 75s. Austin Perkins.
Um, really, really, really strong guy. Probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, um, promises of powerlifting, but I think he has to. He of course is stronger than me. We are not gonna discuss about that, but I think he has to stop that trust talking until he actually shows it. You know, it's what I feel. Like, of course, he's strong. He's probably, if not, he's probably the strongest. Or I mean, he's for sure one of the most important promises in powerlifting. But he is already really really strong. But as I said, totals have to be made where they have to be made. And if you want to say that you are better than everybody, you have to go where everybody is competing.
And that's the IPF World Championships.
Yeah, I think so. At
Okay.
least not where everybody's competing, but at least where the strongest 74 kilos lifters are competing nowadays.
Now, talking about people coming over from USAPL, how about this guy, Russell Orhe?
Oh, Russell is also Taylor and Russell has probably been the two biggest experiences for me during these last years because I may like Taylor more as a lifter, but I prefer Russell as a whole, as a star. Because Russell I think is probably the only lifter that has actually tried to make social media bigger, and I feel like his confidence, he actually tries to make a name. It's not only about lifting; it's about lifting and about making a name in history. And I really like that about Russell. It was, I mean, for me, it was a pity that he didn't go to IPF because I think he was one of the biggest stars in powerlifting, and I think that was a big loss in the IPF. But I mean, it's a really really strong guy, of course, and I hoping we could train together or work out together any day at his gym.
Well, he's coming back to the IPF. He'll be in
Oh, he
83.
is.
Oh
He is.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thing. Then I'm happy about that.
Yeah. So you're going to be at Worlds, Open Worlds this time. So you're probably going to see him. You'll see him at the next IPF World Champ. As long as now he's got to go through US. So with all due respect, he has to beat. I think he's going to have to beat Delaney. I'm not sure how it's because Delaney's going to be at Sheffield. So I don't know how it's going to work. Nobody does yet, but he'll have to beat him either head to head at the American Nationals or whatever their qualifying process is. But high chances, anyways. Like he's the number 183, and you might meet him in person. You might meet him. You might meet him at the World Championship. You might get your workout in with him. Yeah,
Yeah, I
at
mean,
the
I mean, the
World.
thing is, I'm really happy about going to Worlds actually because of that kind of things. Because I have seen those people all my life. I mean, like Monigati, Taylor, Russell, Eddie Berglund. He's probably not going because Miyagi will probably beat him at nationals. But also Berglund, have seen him a lot of times, and Norlin, I mean, all those people have seen them during all my sport career. So it's gonna be like uh only that thing is gonna be for me. I will be very proud about just being with those guys and knowing that I'm not going there like just to have fun. That I'm going there and I'm gonna be competing against them, not only just saying them hi and that's it.
Yeah, and Jesus Oliveras. I mean, he's the strongest man in history. Nobody's ever done what he did at Sheffield, and he's going to be there. I mean, it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's the drawback of splitting up the juniors and the open is that the juniors don't get to be there for the open. Like in 2021, the juniors and the open were together, but they split them. And I could see like juniors and open are getting so big now. There's so many lifters now. It's unprecedented. The growth that it's probably unsustainable to keep them all together. It just get too big and unmanageable.
yeah,
On the
for
flip
sure.
side, Yeah. But on the flip side, the juniors don't get to have that experience. Like, how exciting is it for some 18-year-old kid or some 15-year-old sub junior to meet Jesus, to meet Russell, to meet these people? It's like an experience, right?
But to be honest, I actually think it's a good thing because you have to now. I mean, before you just had to. I mean, before you were gonna meet them anyway. I mean, you were stronger or not, you were gonna meet them. Now you actually have to deserve it. So I think it's a good thing
Mm,
because now everybody that wants to meet those guys and compete against those guys has to has to deserve it. And I mean, if you actually really want to know them, just you can just pay your flights, go to see them, and you are not gonna compete, but you are gonna see them. So I feel it's a good thing for powerlifting that is it's a bad thing for coaches because they have to pay more travels because there are more championships. But I think it's a good thing for powerlifting as a sport and for powerlifting as a sport.
yeah, I think you're right, actually. Having to level up. You want to compete with them? You want to be in the same platform? You want to be in the same competition as them? You got to level up. It's tougher. But as the sport gets bigger, it's what you expect. You want to
Yeah,
go like it gets harder and harder to get to that level. And then when you do show up at the open worlds competing and you see those guys, it's way more, it's like, oh my God, I made it.
yeah,
Right.
for
It's
sure. I
more
feel the
impactful.
same.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Listen, man, thank you for coming on. Crushed 2 hours, and I'm glad you came back. We got to have you on again. I love what you're doing, in terms of the content you're putting out. And I mean, when you're done, what are you doing for your master's, by the way?
Industrial engineering.
What's that, sorry?
Industrial engineering.
Oh, industrial engineering. Oh,
Yeah.
um, my man. Okay, well, I mean, you're smart too. So when you're done your masters, whatever pathway you choose, man, I mean, you've already left your footprint. You won't be forgotten. Everything you've already accomplished, even as in the juniors, but even bigger than your own personal accomplishments, what you've done to help push forward powerlifting in Spain, in all the Spanish speaking nations, it's huge, man. It's already started happening. You've already left the footprint, and I'm excited to see what you do in the future. So good luck, my friend. Stay healthy, get back to being healthy, and we'll keep in touch in the DMs.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here again, and I'm grateful for you to inviting me. And I can promise you, we will next year at Opens, at World Opens, we will see, and we will. I don't know if I will win, but at least they will talk about me. I can promise that.
I'm going to talk about you. They already are. Until next time, everybody, please do give us high ratings and subscribe. Six pack Lapadat, six up, and we are out.